Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be talking about the market movers. Now there are a lot of movements and shift because of the ban list, the new set, the OP061. So we're going to talk about like what affects the prices and also discuss on some of the cards that are going up.
Everyone loves a good comeback story, right? Seabiscuit, the Mighty Ducks,
Robert Downey Jr., who else?
Rocky.
Yes.
Kim Kardashian.
Kim, well,
In the video, she gets cum on her back, I think.
So guys, if you haven't heard yet, they did officially remove the bans for the following cards starting on December 8th, but a lot of LGS have implemented it already. So this includes Nami, Radical Beam, Newgate the leader, Newgate, the one that gives 2k to your leader, Curly the Don, Marco the blocker, and like Marco the 6k blocker. So now let's start with the Newgates. Now, I just want to remind people that if you're playing in the English market and you're not buying it solely for collecting, make sure that you're not buying these Japanese cards as they are not legal in like the English tournaments. So I just wanted to remind people on that one. Now, the alternate art was ranging from $70 to $80 way back in November, and now it is stabling at $200 and above, and sometimes it's dipping. There are some sellers that are trying to sell it for $180 to get the quick buck while it's still up. Now, for the character for the Newgate alternate art and the SP art, it has increased tremendously too, and this one is now stabling north of $80 for the alternate art. And then also the Newgate SP is also stabling up like north of $80. I am just seeing a few of like the 0% sellers up on top selling it for a lower price, and I believe that some of these ones are bots that are trying to make, some of the people list down like their prices at lower than $60, and then they buy it up and sell it for $85. I've been noticing that pattern, so be careful on who you buy it from. Now, for the Edward Newgate's like normal art, this one was like, a sure winner for a lot of the local game stores, as I've known a few that has stockpile, and even one of the local game stores I go has over 151 copies of this one, and now it's selling at $20, and at the time of the unbanning was even selling at $28. Now let's go to the Marco. Now for the Marcos, it has been showing an increase in interest from most of the players, especially because of it's a championship card, but majority of these ones were sold about like 550 below, and I haven't seen anything bought yet for $800. So this might be like just temporary placeholder, and majority of like the items that I see still being sold at the FB marketplace is about like the $500 to the $600 range. Now for the Marco Treasure Cup also, I only saw like the $259 sales for this one, but it has increased in listing to $549, and even in also like the marketplace that I've seen, and also in eBay, it was ranging on about like $200 to $280. Now for the alternate art, which has the same art from the Treasure Cup, this has increased to 47 plus in TCG Player, and this was selling about like $20 to $25 normally, and also including the alternate art for the Marco, which was also stable at about $20 to $25, and this is now selling for $44. Now if you are on a budget, of course you would want to get your Marcos at the $10 range. This dropped to a healthy $5 when it was restricted, but now it's going back up to its normal price. The 4-cost Marcos 2 have a healthy increase from $1.50 to $2 to now $4.40 for the promotional pack. And for the normal art, this was selling bulk rare in our bins. Good thing I bought a playset for me, and it's now at $1.85 or about $3 if you are including shipping. Now we're gonna be skipping Nami and Dadan, of course, because that one's already known. But one of the surprising removal of restrictions was the Radical Beam. Now this is now selling at $4.50, and it was about like a 25 cents 50 cents card way back then. And one of my local game stores that is about like 2 miles from me have a display of this one for about 150, because there's a lot of people that were betting that this is going to be unrestricted, and luckily for them, they had the crystal ball and they're going to be making money off of this one.
危険のエースを解放して即退散とはとんだ腰抜けの集まりじゃのう白ひげ海賊団ならいい見え見えの挑発に乗るんじゃねえ立ち止まったらそれこそ奴の思うツボだまあ船長が船長
Now, aside from Sakazuki buying out the market, a lot of the MTG and Pokemon YouTubers and also TikTok rip and shippers and including in whatnot, I would see that are jumping into One Piece slowly, and some of them are already buying out the quote-unquote version of the reserve list of One Piece in the market. So of course, one of the best example is the serialized cards, which I talked about on a recent video of the King of TCG. Now, the serialized ones, you cannot find anything that is below 5,000, and even the $6,000 ones are being bought out. So now going to our main topic, you would see that the Asia Shanks, which is now selling north of 1,800, and the English one that is going to be releasing this December for the tournament for US is going to be more. And a lot of the shop owners that I talked to said that they're buying it raw for 5,000, which means that the PSA 10s or the graded one would be at least 8,000 or more, and the Monkey D. Luffy window has closed for the 6,500. A lot of the listings that I'm seeing right now is at 8,000 plus. Now, aside from the serialized card, one of the prized rares are of course the manga arts. So I want to show you the hype that Law and Yusa's Kid brings in the table. So this is pre-sale, so it's not a determining factor of the actual starting price of the items unless somebody bought it at this price. But you would see that Sabo settled down at 600 and Sogeking settled down at 500. So that is kind of the target for Eustace Kid and Law, but Law being one of the most popular characters in the series, it would net a higher price, and a lot of the store owners that I talked to is targeting at 800 if ever they get this one. And of course, PSA 10s would be on the 1,500 plus market. So Eustace Kid is not that as popular, so they think that they would be going at the price of Sogeking at about 500. Now, if we go to the Awakening of the New Era, this has a direct correlation of kind of why the price has skyrocketed, and this is the reason why it moved up. So one of the cards that are selling super fast in Japan is of course the Monkey D. Luffy OP05 when it opened, when they released it over there, and the Manga Rares was one of those ones. And the top deck currently in the meta for OP05 is Sakazuki, so there is a high demand for people wanting to get, of course, Sakazuki, Enel, and Monkey D. Luffy right away. And you would see that there is a market price already because they are being bought at this price. And a lot of the rip and shippers and the MTG and Pokemon whales that are going in have bought this one because this is their chance to get into the content creation of One Piece. So that is one of the main reasons why this is super high, including the new SP arts or kind of the alternate arts of some of the usable tournament cards that even for me, I already told my LGS that I need for Kaidos, I need for Monkey D. Luffy's, and they have agreed that, whatever the market price on day 2 would be the one that they would give it to me. So hopefully it drops so that I won't, burn my wallet too much. But you would see this is a higher desirable pack and is an entryway for a lot of the content creation to get into One Piece, especially after the Macy's parade, after all of the announcement and the marketing of the Netflix team. So lastly, guys, the market movers for the West is the unfair advantage of being 2 sets behind of Japan. And that is because we have all of the cards previewed to us. we already know all of the leaders that are going to be, popular. So one example is the deck that recently topped in their 500 plus player for hosted by Bandai. And you would see the Yamato was able to, top with just Charlotte Cracker and all of these other cards. And of course, Zoro. You will see here that if you are preparing and if you are an investor, then which is already there's a lot of players that already did, they bought out all of the $2 Charlotte Crackers and are now selling at $9. So one of the things too is the Katakuri build that was kind of baffled a lot of the players, not in a way that you would expect, but two of the ones that top in the list, top 16 and top 8, did not have a single copy of Katakuri. So it means that they could, if they want to run this build, they have an option not to buy that expensive card. Now, for the popular ones, for the OP05 meta, which is also available in the One Piece top decks, is the Sakazuki one. So they're all builds with just the Borsalino, and also there are builds for the ones with the Kuzans, but the one that is prevalent is always the Hina ones, which was just 10 cents a few weeks ago and now selling for $8. So whoever bought that one out, congratulations to you. You made back in a way. And of course, we cannot forget the purple variant ones that has a lot of queens, that is now sitting at $32 plus. And even some of these page one is now $1. Ulti is also increasing. This whole Sunday, of course, the SP art is being highly coveted, and a lot of people are already calling dibs to their LGSs, and of course the Trafalgar Law ST10s. So these are the tools that you can use to kind of browse up and what you could buy in advance. Now, I do suggest moving forward to always buy 2 copies of all of the structure decks, as we've seen a pattern that all of the structure decks have unique cards that's not going to be on the main set that you are able to use in the tournaments. And of course, if you see a deck that you fancy in the OP06 meta, better stock up on that card and not wait for the last minute in order for you to build your deck. So that is kind of just my advice. So hopefully, guys, you found that information useful. I am going to kind of try and shorten up this format so I could bring to you the current market movers, the reason why it's moving, because that one is very important, and of course the prices, so that you could prepare your wallets for an early beating whenever new cards comes out. And as always, guys, I hope you enjoy the memes, and if you haven't yet, subscribe and like, and I'll see you guys on the next video.